Welcome back to a spankin' new edition of Idology, your weekly deep dive into all things American Idol, brought to you by the glamorous new makeover of Philip Phillips.
Something this dude knows all about.
I'm just kidding, we love Philip just the way he is. Stop your hate mail right now. I'm here with season 6 standout Melinda Doolittle. Melinda, I'm glad you could show up today on time.
You're just lucky I'm here.
I hear she's 7 minutes out and there's some congestion on the 405.
All right, Melinda, let's jump into top 10 week on Idol. I've got to say, America got it right this week.
Curtis, Devin, you are safe.
Here's where I'm having the hardest time. This was the first week where I started to see sides of Curtis's personality that I actually liked.
What precipitated the change in your weather vane?
I watched how the other contestants related to him, and they adore him. And I thought, well, okay, maybe he just needs another week to get it together.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
I hear what you're saying, but then he starts his package with,
"It's not really my goal to top her performance."
I was waving my dinner napkin, just like, whoo, whoo.
Please don't say that. I mean, granted, he needs a little more restraint so that he doesn't say things like that.
Ultimately, his vocal on I Believe wasn't great. There were like 20 runs in the first line of the song.
Go star.
He did that crazy high note on Very Best, which made zero sense to me.
I feel like he started the song off way too low, and so the key was wrong for him. I think that there were a lot of things that they could have helped him out with if they had just taken the time to actually critique him.
I want to hear more of that gospel tinge.
Girl, this isn't Sunday Best on BET. This is American Idol. Like, it's fine if you're on Sunday Best to do gospel every week, but
no, because on Sunday Best they would have hit those notes. I'm so sorry. Did I just say that?
Where is my dinner napkin now?
I can't.
Let's talk about the theme and the song choices. Nigel Lithgow, if you've stuck with Idology for the first couple minutes this week, just please listen to Melinda and listen to me. You've got to do something about these theme weeks. I mean, I really feel that they are on the edge of a cliff, and if we keep getting like sappy ballad after sappy ballad every week.
We're about 2 seconds away from jumping up on this table and kicking everything in sight, which by the way is our own property.
It made people go for those big, bombastic, this is my now type songs that only work when there is confetti falling and everybody's crying and screaming and can't really hear what's happening in the vocal anyway.
Here's where I'm also kind of stuck. We have every week this whole segment where the kids sit down with like industry powerhouse Jimmy Iovine. It's quite clear to me that he's not doing any mentoring, so why are we calling him a mentor? Like when Amber Holcomb comes in and says,
"What song are you thinking about trying this week?"
Kelly Clarkson in a moment like this.
He should put one hand up, like the girls of 702, and just be like, no, you're not gonna sing that this week. That is not an okay song to sing. That's Kelly Clarkson's victory anthem.
My thought process was that this week, Jimmy Iovine came into the picture a little late. Like he came after they had already picked their songs, probably already recorded them, and this was set. So really he couldn't say, please don't sing that song. But the smart part of me knows that even if that had happened, he probably would have said something dumb like,
"The only thing to be careful of is don't oversing."
Warning, Kree Harrison against oversinging was number one on my list of total cray-cray.
Angie, you remind me of somebody in a beauty pageant.
When you come on, I feel like I've tuned into a beauty pageant.
Or to Janelle, you know.
He took a lot of different genres and put them into country and sort of created his own little lane.
I love Scotty, and he's doing great in his lane of country, but different genres.
I think you just articulated what's going on. Like maybe Jimmy is there for comic relief.
He did use the term bubble bath, which I never need to hear again.
That was a bubble bath I gave him.
Like, no,
I had
Mommy.
the exact same reaction.
All right, so let's talk about what went right.
I wanted to present you with this key to the city of Whipple, Texas.
That's some badass.
It's pretty badass.
Shockingly enough, the top 3 vote getters, we don't know in what order they were.
Candice, Kree, and Angie are your top 3.
Excellent. But the top 3 vote getters were the 3 best performances of the week.
I loved Angie. I really did, and I was scared that I wasn't gonna like her singing a Celine Dion song.
She's a clear third, but I don't think she's competing for second right now, only because she nailed that vocal completely. She got every note of that song right, but I feel like she sort of presented a different version of herself as this singer-songwriter at the piano.
I'm not gonna lie, I hate when you part ways with your piano.
To suddenly shift gears and then pick a Celine Dion ballad from the mid-90s, I was a little bit confounded by it. And then Jimmy bringing up the beauty pageant thing, that angered and annoyed me because I don't think anything about her says Miss America. Miss America is not wearing a leather dress with like chains on it. That type of situation is not happening on Miss America, at least the last time I tuned in like 1987.
I might have to disagree with you only just a tad bit, because I feel like Amber kind of snuck in there. I know that she didn't have the numbers to be in the top 3, but I feel like Amber gave Angie a run for her money this week.
I put Amber at a clear 4th. She needs to work on her diction. She gets a little mushy-mouthed sometimes. And I think she needs to dig a little deeper emotionally into what she's singing. I still feel like she's a little surface level.
And then Candice flippin' Glover. Sing heifer. Oh.
It would be in everybody's best interest to never ever perform that song ever again.
It's been done incredibly by Jordan Sparks.
Yes.
Done incredibly by Haley Reinhart, and now it's been done incredibly by Candice Glover.
Yes.
All 3 very different vibes. Like Jordan's was sort of the ingenue, the young girl who just doesn't get why this guy isn't into her.
You buy her diamonds.
Haley was a little bit like a crazy stalker girl. And Candice was like the experienced woman who's basically like over it with this guy, a little bit angry.
You buy her diamonds.
Yes, you better say that, Michael. That's how you put it together. Yes, sir.
While we're talking about perfection, I really do feel like Kree, the understated quality of Cryin' was completely emotionally correct.
Kree singing Cryin' was one of the most beautiful things I have ever heard.
Touch of your hair can start me crying.
It was so small and contained, and just with a melody that perfect and with a voice that beautiful, to use a Nicki Minaj phrase, it was giving me everything I needed in my life.
Did it make you want waffles?
I completely understood what Nicki was saying about waffles.
I'll have to have like Aunt Jemima buttermilk syrup on it.
Aunt Jemima is where it's at. So I gave her that, but the whole microwave waffles, I was like, you lost me.
Put it in the microwave and then warm it up a little bit. Right. And that's what that performance felt like to me.
Well, she's obviously not going to be on Top Chef as a judge, but whatever gets her through the morning.
Right.
Or the afternoon. I mean, I shouldn't assume that she's waking up in the morning.
You sure shouldn't.
And she's up in the afternoon. You know I'm going to be working in Brianna Steer references all season long.
I'm up in the afternoon.
Let's talk about the danger zone of this competition. I kind of felt like Lazaro fell apart during that performance. It was a little galling when Angie was like,
I think that I can sing it as well as Kelly did.
which is something you should never ever say, contestants.
Never.
But then Lazaro even just picking Kelly Clarkson felt like more of an affront to me. It was just like, that just seems insane.
Based on performance, I probably would have said Lazaro, but I actually thought that Devin was going home because he sang beautifully, but it was just like the song was just here and never went anywhere.
This is my temporary home. It's not where I belong.
With Lazaro, I feel like you can talk about moods or moments or whatnot, but at the end of the day, he just didn't sing it that well.
But then I had a friend of mine come up to me yesterday in tears because she was like, my son stutters, and him seeing Lazaro up on that stage changed everything for him, because he was like, somebody that talks like me is doing what I'm doing.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, okay, yep. We're just gonna have to keep Lazaro and pray that he sings better.
I think a lot of people are falling in love with the courage that you have.
At some point, Lazaro wants to be judged within the framework of the top 10.
You're right.
I commend his courage for being up there, but I don't know if right at the end of a bad vocal of Breakaway is the time to break out the courage card. But you know, Paul Jolly can go home before him. It's okay.
Hey, careful.
This is the first time you've stimulated my sexual appetite.
I don't understand what's going on in your brain. And then Randy's like,
I'm not going to talk about the sexuality, but...
You know what, Randy? Let's not talk about sexuality.
Randy, shut up.
I felt like Paul and Burnell, for me, had great vocals on songs that I just did not like.
Every little thing that you do.
Nina Garcia will often say, I question your taste level.
You're flying without wings.
These guys have to pick something better, something that suits their voice better, possibly something up-tempo. Burnell needs to stop sculpting the head in the Hello video while he's singing.
I really think that they have a plethora of songs to choose from this week coming up, and I think that it's going to be amazing. I'm going with that. This is going to be the best week ever.
If you can't find a good song during Lennon-McCartney week,
then you deserve to go home.
Then you deserve to go home.
I'm Haley Steinfeld, and you're watching ENTV. Hi, my name is Kieran Shipka, and you're watching ENTV.
Aubrey Plaza, ENTV. I just touched it with my mouth, sorry.